Be fine. Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's Monday morning. Woohoo! And it's a full moon. We're talking about spiralic energy, energy that's always moving into its highest potential with this full moon and all the energies. It's summer. For some, many are graduating. Kids are moving into their summer camps. All kinds of things are happening on the planet. And we are here this Monday morning to stabilize in heart resonance, stabilize in that experience of love and what we call here the home frequency. So really attuning to the field as it's moving, that we are the centrifugal force of energy as we really become more aware of the energies that are contributing to some aspects of chaos, challenges. A beautiful butterfly just flew across the window, and really move into our fullest potential, right? That moving from that state of the cocoon. And today's topic by gift of Henry Lepler, who's here with us, one of our Residence Council stewards, who really is bringing forth this focus on authenticity and its relationship to resonance. Really quite beautiful, and for me quite poignant as I took off from Florida and am traveling and feeling more deeply into what is that purpose? How can that truth come forth in everything that I'm doing, no matter what is swirling around me? So I'm imagining that each one of us is having variations on that tone. So this morning we'll open with a little resonance and a few guidelines, and then I'll pass this beautiful virtual birch talking stick, because I'm looking out at birch groves, out to you, Henry. So let's begin with calling our attention inside and becoming aware of this frequency of love that abounds in our bodies and abounds in our life if we're opening and making that choice, that conscious choice to receive this full spectrum of connection. So just taking a few breaths and allowing this internal movement to capture our attention and to bring us closer to our heart. And taking a few breaths into the deeper stillness of our being and our beings that are already whole. We can become aware of this inner circulatory system, this system that's fully functioning and bringing that chi energy into our heart, that deeper pulsation of life that connects us, that is a part of this web, this interconnected network, this radiance and return to our effervescence. Beginning this morning in gratitude. And just focusing on one aspect of gratitude this morning. How are you standing tall as your voice is rising in its authenticity? You just feel into this movement, this gentle movement this morning of the waters of life that move within you and connect us as a community. And this morning, just becoming aware now of this circle of energy of others, this family here, this familial energy, where we see each other in the full composition of our being. And we just soften and open really to the heavenly flows of information and wisdom, to the earthly nurturance and nourishment that we receive by simply saying yes to our heart. And just feeling that inner smile as you very gently come back to presence here in this beautiful tapestry of love and connection. And for those that are here that are new, or just joining us or watching this for the first time, we just really honor a few simple guidelines. Those guidelines of speaking 1 to 2 minutes and speaking to the whole. So the invitation here is to acknowledge your fellow sister and brothers, but to continue listening to that thread of energy that's building this bridge as a collective. And if you feel excited by something someone says, just a simple movement of acknowledgement is good here. And to continue and allow the flow of information that's building here. And to allow a pause between each speaker. Each one is expressing their innate wisdom so that our bodies can integrate this force of love. We're here grounding this force of love together. And pretty much that's it. So with that, I'm going to pass this beautiful birch virtual talking stick to Henry, and we'll open the call. Thank you all for joining us. And not to forget that you come in on a default of mute, so you'll have to unmute yourself on a phone, *6, and on the left-hand corner of your screen for those that are on computer. So with that, Henry, it's all yours.
Thank you, Shelley. Good morning, everyone. Just had the thought as we are approaching the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, that this theme of authenticity kind of connects with that, with each of our own radiant suns or expressions of the light. The first, a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: "Be congruent, be authentic, be your true self." And from Carl Jung, expressed, another one that is very beautiful: "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart." So authenticity is a word that shows up a lot these days. It has an intimate connection with the home frequency that we speak about here in our heart resonant circles. Authenticity isn't a destination, it's a journey. The authenticity journey is in every step that we open to the deeper impulse of our beings, to the life energy that animates us. When we open to what is emergent, to what is alive in us, what calls to us in the world, and what resonates at the core of our beings, we open to our authenticity and to authentic response and action in our lives. Here is some words from Ora Nadrich and her book, Live True, a Mindfulness Guide to Authenticity. And she says, "I will direct you to the home of your authenticity, which is in the depths of your being. That is where you will find your wholeness. and feel most accepting and complete. The inner self is the dwelling place of your authenticity, but of course. But too often we stray from our authentic wholeness, and it can become fragmented or even broken. To live authentically means being connected in a mindful way to all aspects of ourselves and the core values we adhere to and live by. Mindfulness and authenticity are inexorably linked. You cannot be effectively mindful without being authentic. It helps us to not forget our true nature. It keeps us present and aware. If we feel an impulse to be inauthentic, it reminds us immediately that falseness of any kind feels wrong with every fiber of our being. I can relate to that. So, what calls to you in the world? What calls to you in this moment? And how does that connect with your authentic self? So what helps you connect with your authenticity? So I place the birch talking, the authentic birch talking stick into the center of the circle and invite you to share.
Greetings all, this is Kate here in South Dakota, and I think I could pick up this talking stick on this note as, I mean, the things I want to see in the world are just allow the abundance that already exists to nurture us all and let us learn to live, cooperative. I am just off a retreat called the Co-Creators Convergence. And we were all asked what quality we bring. And my quality was authenticity. And as Henry just a journey into authenticity and what that really means. And, a lot of last week's exploration was about dealing with our shadow, healing our shadow parts, incorporating those shadow parts. And I know mine has been an ongoing journey of, I say, weeding the garden of my heart. And since authenticity is a topic, I'm here, I'm waiting, I'm listening to y'all, I'm letting you see my beautiful flower bed. So, this is what I have to do when I have the time allows and it's not raining and such. So being my authentic beauty, if we hear in this turning that we're all a keeper of a piece of this puzzle in the turning. And so as I try to hone into what I'm a keeper of, I say I'm a keeper of my own unique beauty and an appreciator of the beauty of everyone else. And so to that end, my authentic nature will say greetings from my garden in South Dakota. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I will pass the birch talking stick on and get back down on my knees here. I'm definitely grounding the energy for all of us.
Good morning, this is Julie from Nebraska. And I really appreciated how the reading on authenticity connected us back to wholeness. And I was just musing on that this morning before this call, feeling into my wholeness when I'm around nature and art and beauty and music. I turned on my music and I'm intoxicated and I'm feeling into wholeness in that moment. And I had an experience Friday night. I've been really in this process of receiving just guidance from my higher self and next steps, what's next for me. And in my authenticity, in that true nature of wholeness, I feel such peace and such delight and such excitement, like, I get to do this. One night I woke up in the middle of the night and wrote all over a whiteboard, and then the next night, wrote all over another whiteboard, and like this is coming. And I'm so grateful for this topic today, because the experience is that when I step out of authenticity, not by desire or choice, but when I look at what's ahead of me and it looks so big, it's so big, I realize that's not the authentic whole me. That's my small self in separation, ego looking at something to go, who am I to do this? Or how in the world will we get this done? And looking at it takes me out of authenticity from that frame of mind. So when I stepped back in Friday night, I had this experience. I had a date night with my husband, went out to eat, had coffee, came back home, and I'm like, let me share this project with you. Let me just let's go in here and sit in front of this whiteboard. I just want to share it with you. I was in that place of peace and wholeness and authenticity. And as I was feeling that and being that and experiencing that, everything flowed with such ease and just natural beauty. It was like easy to talk about, easy to create a picture of it, easy to bring that to life. And then wake up the next day, step out of it, and it's like, oh yeah, reorient, come back into that place. Because that authentic place is just easy. Not, maybe we need another word, because that authenticity it's a place of inspiration and engagement and embodiment and action and activation. So it's not easy, because there's a lot of really difficult steps ahead, but it's easy. I don't know. I guess I'm just going to leave it there, because I don't have another word for it. It's really not easy, but it's really of ease and joy and flow and beauty and peace. And yeah, and I love that place of authenticity. So thank you for bringing this topic. And thank you for that reference to wholeness. That authenticity is really about coming into our wholeness, remembering wholeness. And with that, I have a whole birch tree to hand to the center. Right out there. And I'm complete.
Good morning. Nahid from Boulder. Authenticity is a journey. It is not a destination. Yes, it is. It is the ease itself. It's like to reside in that flowing deliciousness of the core of our own uniqueness. I fully resonate with what you said about when it is not, when it is too much and not a possibility. I am in my, not in my higher self. I see that it's like sometimes there is an overlap between what is mine uniquely and that bigness, that wholeness that everyone else play their own note inside of that symphony. So being authentic for me is being true to my own heart, to that loving presence that is uniquely my experience, loving with no agenda, just being there. And what is calling me in that state is total freedom to be me in its own uniqueness. Even though there are times that I am triggered and I am seeing the other aspect, call it shadow, the dance between this paradox that we live. But then I come back to know what is mine, and that's only the reflection of me out there that I get to choose to celebrate, because that is another aspect of me that I have created, creator celebrating his own creation. This is yummy. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, this is Eric. Julie, it was lovely to hear you speak. And one of the things you said that really lit my fire, when you talked about action and you talked about having a flow of ideas you're putting on the whiteboard and sharing it with your husband. And I love the fact that you brought up implicitly the paradox that can occur for us, that there is peace and at the same time no peace. I'm struggling to achieve something. I'm this, I'm that, all that. Yet my experience is when I'm in the flow of all that action in the high space, so to speak, that there is a peace. There's both peace and unpeace residing both at the same time. And it's, from my experience, what I like, it's a lovely experience. What I'm aware of as I listen to various people speak here is there's a phrase that comes to mind, I think of Ken from Zen Buddhism. there are many paths to the top of the mountain. Once there, it's easy to see that the sun shines on all of them. And I've really always liked that. And what I realize is that in meeting other people who are on their journey to the top of the mountain via their path is not exactly my path. Their belief system orientation may not exactly be mine. We may have similarities, we may have differences. And one of the most important aspects for me is that the encountering of those differences is an opportunity, usually, if we take it, for taking another step or two up that path to the top of the mountain. I like action. I like exploring our differences, seeing where, quote, God resides within each one of us in its own unique place and way. And to be quite honest, not being seduced into thinking we're all the same. So I'll let that be for right now, as I toss the stick back into the center of the circle.
This is Cassandra. I'm drawn to this call every week because I experience a deeper flow than I get except in beautiful moments of letting go. And that wholeness that I experience so sculpts the perception that I have in any given moment. And I also notice that when I try to express myself, that it is inevitable when we are in this state of grace that it reveals who we are to others, and thus by human thought makes us vulnerable. But I think that's part of authenticity, is that we allow ourselves to show who we are in every given moment. And through that, we receive the feedback from others that helps us to shift if we need to, or to strengthen where we are moving to and coming from. It is all this beautiful kaleidoscope of energy that we we play with it daily. And yet it is also teaching us profoundly when we take the moment, as we do here, to deeply communicate what we're experiencing. So I feel the wholeness. I'm in that flow with you. I am content here as I am in a few other places. I look forward to when I am content within self. And that day is sometimes very close and sometimes further away. But it is still a beautiful place to be aspiring to, if if that is all I can manage in a given moment. So with that thought, I feel that I am complete, and I return the talking stick to the center of the circle. Aho.
Sharon from New Jersey. I'll do a brief check-in. I am authentically trying to recover from being sick. I have a bronchitis thing going on, which is getting worse instead of better. And I had the family here yesterday with the grandson, and he just keeps bringing those germs. Anyway, it's interesting how you can be in wholeness and you can still be struggling with something or having something go on that's less than perfect, for sure, uncomfortable. So I'm feeling pretty peaceful and pretty grateful for so much life, love, everything around me, and just being and letting myself be where I am, and do some resting and do some stuff on the computer today, which will be good. Get some things done, not push it. So that's where I am right now. Pass the stick.
Good morning, all. Buenos dias. This is Rosemary from Costa Rica. Enjoying this beautiful space as I take in your beautiful renditions of the uniqueness of your authenticity. As I reflect upon the term, the first sense that I receive is of a beautiful, soft, flowing, sometimes colorful, sometimes more muted fabric. Because to me, authenticity is a malleable characteristic. I mean, to even say that it's a characteristic doesn't feel right for me. That's too solid, too limiting. Because authenticity, in the sense of a fabric, molds and shapes to what is. And yet it's the fabric, it's the essence. So the word that I'm equating with authenticity is that it's an essence, it's a feeling sense. And the way that I practice or even deepen my authenticity to myself is by my interactions with you and the world. Because it's through that reflection, through that mirroring of each relationship, that I, coming from my essence, my authenticity, I have the ability to be authentic in each situation. It's not a given, it's not a static, it's a flow. And so what is that authenticity based on? Because I'm always trying to go, okay, what's underneath that? What's underneath that? What's underneath that? And as I do that, I realize that my authenticity is the core of my being, and that it is based on my values, my feelings, and the perennial question for me, to me, is who am I in this situation? Because that then draws me to the essence of my authenticity. Who am I in this situation? And as was mentioned earlier, if I'm not being who I authentically know I am, I have a moment or a choice to shift. And there's that malleability again. There's that flowingness of authenticity. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thought form for me, this word authenticity. And I'll just finish by relating the word itself to another word for me that's very similar, and that's author or authorship. So I am the author of my beingness. And it really is a joyful, sensual journey to explore that in groups like this, where yes, we can be vulnerable and know that the wholeness that we represent, not only individually, once we touch that, can then be shared in a container like this. So thank you all for being here. It's a beautiful day in paradise, and I love you all. Namaste. I'm complete.
I would like to add that feeling intimate with our feelings is authenticity. That's what we call the flow. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is June from California. And I had to find that authenticity in myself a few moments ago when I spilled my cup of coffee all over my desk and my papers while I was reaching to click on to unmute myself. So I'm here laughing at myself and recognizing too in that place that rather than blame myself or get angry or whatever, I laughed. And that really helped just be with what happened for me instead of putting it outside myself, just to let it be that I authentically caused it by something that I did. But for me, authenticity is when I feel whole. And in that place, I feel centered and clear, and I trust myself. I may not know the correct answer, but I know the answer of myself at that moment. And it's a place where I'm willing to come forward and express it and hold it so that it's like there are no frayed edges to myself when I am in my authenticity. And I'm more creative in that space and joyful. And so even if I make a mistake in my authenticity in terms of what I'm doing, the feelings that I carry during that space help me to work with the mistakes, to work with doing it again in a new way, in a new creative way. And I find that when I am in my authenticity, that's when I'm more often challenged and given more difficult things to face and to work through and find solutions for.
And I think that's because when I'm in my authenticity, I'm more willing to see what's in front of me, not, not make it something it's not, so I don't have to deal with it, or I don't have to see it, or I don't have to be aware of it. So it's a place of more clarity where I am willing to see what's there and to handle it from that authentic place. And I really love what's been being said today about authenticity. There's just so many different yet all woven together meanings of what it is to be authentic. And so I'm really grateful to be here today, and I pass the talking stick on.
This is Shelley. Oh, sorry, Henry. Do you? Oh, you're not. Oh, okay. You just can. This is Shelley, and just feeling that sense of woven threads here, and what's in my awareness in this moment is, is that in listening to all, it's like authenticity includes the whole. It is the whole. And who am I to judge when I think I'm being authentic or not? And I think that's been a really interesting journey for me, because I can remember years and years and years ago, this one person came into a training that I was a part of and teaching, and he came in, he was actually coming in from a landmark experience, landmark forum, and he was so all about his authenticity, and came in and then to watch this person, discover the layers and layers and layers of himself, and then what he would have described after months of discovering those layers is what really was authentic. So in that other moment, he felt he was an authentic self. And then months later, he discovered more of his true self, his true nature. And I feel like this is a really tricky conversation for me, because, am I not being authentic when I don't feel comfortable? Am I not being authentic when I drop my coffee all over the place? Am I not being authentic in those tender moments? Or those unknown moments where I don't think I feel myself and I'm being authentic. And I'm feeling like I want to really, to me, when I'm feeling that sense of creation and creatorship and the nuances of that, why would I be there to judge myself when I think that I'm not in alignment with myself? And I know it's true at the same time, those, all those sensations of flow and ecstasy and bliss and love. But am I not being authentic when I don't have those moments of those feelings? Because I'm in the portal, in a sense, it's a portal of discovery of the bigger, I think authentic is a noun, an adverb, an adjective. It's inclusive of all of it. And I guess my journey has been so much about judgment and judging myself. And I feel this, interesting, place of like, can I be that open, that I'm open to the layers and layers and layers, just like the rose, and not so much like the onion peeling of the layers, but like the rose who has those so many layers. And is that rose, in its full bloom or whatever state it is, that's being its authentic self. So I think there's a lot to discover here for me. And it's a very poignant time of transition where, I'm meeting those edges of things that I've said I would do, or promises not so much promises, but things I would say I would do, and all of a sudden feeling these places in myself of how can I be much more present in my being, authentically meeting those conflicts or those people that I'm in conflict with, or might not agree with. So it's kind of it is a journey. And I go back to that, that beautiful part of the quote that, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. And so for me to land this, it's embracing my heart in all of the aspects that it's meeting as a whole being, right? Embracing that whole being. So thank you so much. Love you all.
This is Henry. Just want to carry one of those threads a little further or extend to that. So the kind of the main teaching of the mystery schools is to know thyself or know oneself. And so we're continually opening to, from the gamut that we're told that we are each microcosms of the universe. So how can I be authentic to that? So it's, it's all of those different layers that is unfolding. I guess that's part of the journey. And the second piece was related to a quote from an earlier heart resonance a few weeks ago. The quote from one of the founders of Findhorn, when he was speaking about community, that community is not something we create, it's something we can tap into. So the same feeling, I kind of got a hit related to this, that authenticity isn't something we create. We formulate it as something that we tap into. So we are, it's already there. And we are invited, especially in circles like this, that invite the greater wholeness of who we are, to tap into it, to explore, to journey around throughout the universe of our authenticity, to allow that, to invite that, like your own precious child, and not to judge that, to just open in the being state. So I feel complete.
Shelley, Eric here. I just wanted to make a quick comment. I love the passion I heard in your voice as you were talking, explaining yourself, and the energy that came out. It was very beautiful. Thank you.
This is Julie. I just want to pull that thread just a little farther quickly. Thank you for bringing us back to that. Earlier, I looked up the definition of authenticity, which is authentic, which means of undisputed origin. Of undisputed origin. And if we really live into that nature of authenticity, we are returning to the origin, which is the whole of who we are. And I am the interbeing, I just wrote on this morning, the interbeing of all things, of all life form, of the planet. I am the planet. I am you. I am that community. The origin of who I am is undisputed. So I love that. Thank you. I'm complete.
This is Dinama. Vibrational match. There's a knowing, an energetic knowing, when we are in communion with our home frequency. And
this is where unconditional love of self is the doorway to our wholeness. And for me, the practice, the invitation is to presence myself in that place now. And how am I showing up? Not so much who am I, but how am I showing up? And it's that frequency that's creating my experience and our collective experience. And this is our point of true creative power. So this is how I carry myself into my daily co-creation, is this frequency of our wholeness. I'm complete.
So this is Shelley, and just taking another breath and opening the space for those who haven't shared, and would like to invite people who have shared to just, as I always say, hold the banks of the river of this flow and focus this morning on authenticity and resonance. It's just been so beautifully expressed. So if we could just continue to allow that expansion of that form of energy, that flow, that beautiful frequency of our wholeness, ultimately, which is authenticity, that return to origin. So with that, we'll open to those people who haven't shared. Please don't forget to unmute yourself, *6 if you're on the phone, and we'll continue to hold this beautiful resonance.
Hi, everyone. It's Don Pett. I don't get to join you as often as I'd like to, but I love your group and what you do. And I certainly was involved a long time earlier, but now I've been off doing my own thing, trying to create a movement, a 1 million-member movement to teach Einstein's solution for world peace. But authenticity, I think the idea of origins that Julie brings up, I think Barbara Marx Hubbard told us the importance of evolution. You know, finally we have a story that's we seem to think is accurate now about where we came from, and the story that tells who we are and what our purpose is. Where, from what I can gather from my perspective, we are humane. We're born as human beings, that is, high-level animals. We're born with an animal brain that's a museum of all the adaptive behaviors that worked for 3.5 billion years. But we have been given this marvelous new brain that most people call a cerebral cortex. We've been given this ability to teach ourselves a different way of thinking. So instead of coming into the world as human beings, we're offered the opportunity to become humane becomings. That's not a word in our language, but humane becomings says that we have been given this opportunity through our own co-creativity to advance ourselves to a higher level of spirituality and morality. But my impression is what we authentically are, our origins, we came from earlier states where we had unconditional love, but it was egotistical love when we were single, then it was parental love, and then it was tribal love. And now we've got to the point, and then we had erotic love. Now we've come to the point where we need to teach ourselves unconditional universal love and forgiveness. I think those are the fifth and sixth varieties of love. Unfortunately, our language limits us to this one kind of love. And so it's my perspective that to really be authentic, we need to realize we're humane becomings. We have the ability to teach ourselves through groups like this, the power of a group like this, and why I think groups are so important, that we have an opportunity to express ourselves. Most educational meetings are talking heads, where people tell you what you need to do and think. Whereas here, the opportunity is for people to share their own authenticity, what they think, what they believe. And that's why I think meetings like this are so powerful. And I think we need more of them around the world. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Anyone else want to jump in? If not, we honor that as well.
Hi there, it's Eric again. Don, very briefly, in listening to you speak, like with Shelley, I hear the passion, the strength, the energy you bring forth with your thoughts and your actions that you're intending about Einstein's thoughts and so forth. And I just really appreciate that. I want to say thank you on that. I'm done.
Thank you.
Oriana, do you want to jump in? Or
Yeah, I just had a quick word of authentic origin of evolution. And it's a feeling. Authentic origin of evolution is ecstatic, where there is an ease. And when Julie was talking about ease, I had this song of ease on down the road. Don't you carry nothing that might be a load. Come on, ease on down the road. So what if ecstatic evolution is that ease on down and a balance with up so that we find that balance point within and bring that ease of ecstatic evolution as our authentic origin.
Let's just take another breath together and really deeply appreciate this field of authenticity. So together we create a field of authenticity. So gorgeous. And with that, always the invitation is to invite you to come on Wednesday and deepen and grow this experience and activate, as was being shared. You can become a mentoring steward and join us in that field. So with that, we'll just invite everyone to unmute themselves and to really ripple this out, because this is so much what people need to hear and feel, this ease on down the road experience. So we'll send that out with a yum and take this into our day and take this into our week and stay connected with each other. Find ways of staying connected and continuing this beautiful, interactive river of love. Blessings. Yum, 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 yum,
Love to all.
Love you all.
Love.